That's like saying I have to get my hair done.
Well, we have no hair, so gotta get my hair cut.
Okay, you guys can both see the timer?
Not yet.
You can't?
There it is.
You want me to make it bigger?
Okay, there. No, I see it now.
Okay. All right, and you can see the comments. They're big enough, right?
Yeah, like I said, as long as Vanessa's not commenting and make her small.
Okay. All right, I am going to...
I'm just kidding.
I'm going to reset the timer, and when it says on the air, you're on the air, okay?
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome to another edition of Fair Catch. Robin, giving you intelligence for your sports.
Well, we're here anyway.
Yeah, we're definitely here. I mean, I don't know how smart, but maybe, maybe a little, Anyway, tragic news, by the way, and I think you heard it too. Claude Lemieux passing away at the age of 60.
Yeah, Claude. Boy, I'm sad. It's sad that he passed away, but he was one of those hockey players. I'll just say that.
Yeah, very gritty, very. Got a cup with obviously the Colorado Avalanche, and unfortunately he passed away on a suicide. And
that is. I'm telling you, you're getting more and more of these stories and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's definitely sad. I hope it's not like CTE related.
Yeah, because there should be more research on it, and the NFL is doing a great job with that, by the way, of researching the CTE, because of guys like Junior Seau and a lot of other linemen and that. But again, if you're suicidal, obviously get help, talk to somebody. That's the best thing you can do.
Yeah. I mean, not a lot of people hold their emotions in, and and unfortunately, it leads to hopelessness for many. So hopefully, just best wishes out to his family, his friends, and whatnot.
But again, a very good player, very gritty player. Again, he'll be missed by everybody. Let's start off with the Western Conference Championship and the Vegas Golden Knights sweeping Colorado. I did not see that coming.
I didn't really see a sweep coming, but you could tell Vegas was on a roll with what, I mean, ever since they got Tortorella as their head coach of a late season, they fired their other head coach. Can't remember his name. Who cares at this point? They fired him late in the season, hired Tortorella. Everybody, there's people out there thinking that the Knights are in chaos. Well, not really. Here they are going to the Stanley Cup final. Not only they trounced Colorado. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be like that. If they were going to win, I figured that they would be like in 7 games, maybe 6. Not a sweep, but holy cow, they just rolled them.
I mean, it's the way that Tortorella, the way he coaches is very. How do I put it? It's like. He coaches them like he's very energetic, so to speak. I mean,
he's a jerk. He doesn't care. Putting it
not like Lindy, where he's a lot more calmer than he was, from back in the day.
No, I think they're both intense. I think Tortorella is more outward.
Yeah.
He shows his intensity more.
I mean, it's not like Jim Schoenfeld where he tells the referee to eat another donut, but...
those were the days. But no, I mean, Tortorella is very strict. He's very straightforward. Doesn't put up with anything. That's for sure. Has a Stanley Cup with the Tampa Bay Lightning 20 years ago now. Over 20 years ago when he had Vincent LeCavalier.
And he had David
as him. So he knows what it's like to win. So, and Vegas is already has a Stanley Cup. Now they're 4 games away from getting their second.
Eichel giving a chance for a second Stanley Cup that he'd sent me.
But I'm telling you, man, Carolina's finding their stride right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, yes, we were right pretty much with Carolina being rusty after 11 days off. I mean, what more do you want? You're not skating or anything that much, and you're only practicing, which practicing is not anything game-like. And you don't really want to have an intense practice for the playoffs because obviously you're going every other day.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, unlike the first round, maybe the second round, there you had a part there where you were a part of the schedule where you had like 3 days off. Now it's not like that. Now when the series gets going, it's like it's like every other game. I'm sorry, every other day. Now, if Carolina can wrap it up, win it in 5, they'll have a few days off. And because Vegas won their series in a sweep, it'll be reasonable amount of time, really, because now Vegas, they would probably get like an extra 2 days, an extra day or two. So rather than 12, so they have. So it's going to be, I don't want to say it's Carolina's series to lose. I feel it's Carolina's series to lose if they can go ahead and end Montreal in 5.
Because you look at Montreal, again, they got speed. We've seen that. They got the talent, but Carolina's talent is just, I feel like it's far superior than Montreal's.
They're deep.
I mean,
they're a deep team, and this is where they can get Vegas, because I think that based on what I've seen, they seem to be a much deeper team than Vegas. They should be able to wear Vegas down, but but the key is always. But as always, the key is going to be goaltending. Which goaltender is going to come up and take and just grab the series?
And shockingly, Freddie Anderson, who played for those Maple Chokes, obviously is having a series or having a playoff of a lifetime.
How do you feel if you're a Maple Leafs fan? Mitch Marner on the Vegas Golden Knights.
Well,
Freddie Anderson over here playing for the Carolina Hurricanes. I mean, you've got to be punching air at this point. I mean, what are you doing here?
I mean, Buffalo fans could give him advice too. I mean, you get Ryan O'Reilly winning a cup, Sam Reinhart winning a cup. Over 20 years ago, Andrew Chuck gets a cup. I mean, you name it. Name a former Sabre, and they win a cup after they leave here. I mean, Brian?
It's more fun because it's a lot more fun because it's Toronto, and we can just sit there and say, I'll point and laugh at them. I don't care.
I mean, we don't make fun of the Blue Jays because they're our parent club for the Bison. So
I'll make fun of the Blue Jays. I'll make fun of the Blue Jays all day long. You kidding me?
Oh, I definitely will too, because I'm a Yankees fan, and but otherwise, Toronto can keep crying, and I hope that Austin Matthews chooses wisely if he's going to be a free agent.
Well, Austin Matthews could be the prize of the off season if they choose to trade him.
I think we should plant some palm trees and people could come here. Like what Kevin Adams said.
But Austin Matthews is probably one of the greatest goal scorers in Toronto history.
Mm-hmm.
He does. I mean, he is a star player. If you are going to trade Austin Matthews, if it comes to that, I don't know, but it seems like Toronto may be in a rebuild. You're wasting years with Austin Matthews if you're going to do a rebuild. So, I mean, if you're going to go through a rebuild, why are you hanging on to Austin Matthews?
Exactly.
I think you would have to look or maybe explore. Okay, if we were to trade him, what could we get? And it had better be a house ransom. It had better be a dump truck full of assets. And I'll go back to nobody. And you know what? Anybody's tradable. Yeah. And I'll say this: when the day that Wayne Gretzky got traded, I will never. It was I was 15 years old, and when that happened, the hockey world was stunned. Okay, the ramifications of that are still being felt to this day in some respects, because that put it into anybody's mind. If Wayne Gretzky can be traded, anybody can be traded. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that Austin Matthews could leave Toronto. Now, where would he go? That's a whole nother story. And who has the assets that the Maple Leafs would want? Who knows? And don't forget that salary. That salary is gigantic. So,
yeah, and I'm not too worried now with the draft picks, because now we're lower than normal, where we used to be in the top 5, top 10, and now it's like, okay, we can make that a draft pick and get a star player, or you have so much talent down in Rochester that teams would want and get somebody big up here. That's the thing.
I'll tell you what's interesting, and the Sabres are kind of going through like a big time decision making period right now. Is what do you do with Alex Tuch? And to me, I mean, with Zach Benson as an RFA, they're looking to extend Bo Byram. They're Peyton Krebs. I mean, they don't really have that much as far as free agency goes. If you look at like who the UFAs are, maybe maybe one or two I'd bring back. I don't know, on a short-term deal. Logan Stanley, maybe a 1-year deal, 2-year deal, maybe. He was okay, but not, not spectacular.
Nor is that kind of like I'm on the fence of like, I don't mind if they get rid of him, but I mean, when he's on the ice, he's good. But you got to stay healthy, and his problem has been staying healthy, so it makes him much more expendable than any of these players.
Well, the thing is, if Josh Norris was able to stay healthy, they wouldn't be, they probably wouldn't. His name wouldn't be coming up in trade rumors, because every article that I've seen so far has Josh Norris listed. The problem with Josh Norris is his salary. is the amount of money that's there. And Sabres knew this when they traded for him. Because Josh Norris is a good player. When he's right, he is a very good player. Problem is they're not getting enough back in their investment. So what do? You might have to take a trade for draft picks or a draft pick to get rid of his salary. And you're not going to get that much benefit from that trade. However, actually the biggest benefit would be clearing the salary off of your books. Getting him and maybe McLeod. Moving McLeod possibly. And I like him. And I like McLeod. He's a 50 to 60 point player, and you need those guys. But
plus he's a fast mofo.
Oh, he is. This speed is amazing. But now, if you were to do those two moves, that clears a lot of money off of the cap.
Absolutely.
Now, you have Zach Benson, who they more than likely want to sign to a long-term deal. I don't know. I mean, a lot of times with players that young, he's only 21.
Yeah, where Tuck is over 30, where Tuck's over 30, right. And it doesn't matter. If he doesn't want to stay, it doesn't matter. If he wants to stay, it's only going to be for like a 2 to 3 year contract because of being in the 30s and it starts slowing down.
And that's the thing. I mean, I think, if you're talking about Zach Benson, you're talking about players in the 21-year-old range that normally get a bridge contract.
Absolutely.
Sometimes 2 years, maybe 3. That'll take them to the age of 23, 24. And then they can look into doing like something long-term then. However, they could be thinking, you know what, this kid showed enough development. He never went down back to junior. He never went back. He never played in Rochester. He went straight from the juniors to the NHL. So you're talking about a kid that's developed in the NHL. So you're talking about, what's his worth? What do you pay? Maybe an 8-year contract. If you want to max it out, go 8 years, $55 million. Which is over 7, it's like over 7 or something like that, 58 million, So he's here till like the age of 29 and 30, he's a fan favorite already.
Oh yeah.
If they, let's put it this way. If they lose Zach Benson for any reason, they would burn the city down. Yeah. But you're seriously talking about a kid that has really become a Buffalonian, even though he's from Canada,
Especially what he did in the playoffs, too. It's like he was probably the best player of the playoffs on our team.
Best all-around player. Player, because, let's face it, Tage Thompson he did have some hit and miss. He did have some lower back issues as he came to tell us. But the game that they had to have, when they had to have it in a couple of playoff games, he showed up.
Oh yeah.
In the clinch, in the game 6 against the Canadiens, he showed up. They had to have it. So I don't have any problem with Tage Thompson. I think what cost Alex Tuch at this point is putting up a goose egg against Montreal, and they haven't come up. They haven't come out and said anything about him with any kind of an injury. So I don't. So I mean, that's tough, man. Because I don't.
Whether
that trajectory doesn't look good.
Defense. Yeah, whether they played a certain defense that stopped Tuch had chances. Don't get me wrong, he had some great chances. Just couldn't bury him. I mean, you looked at like Jack Quinn, who was hitting goalpost. Finally, game 6, he finally broke through.
Yeah. I think the big questions are now, and I'm starting to hear some rumbles about goaltending. Whether they go after like a goaltender in trade.
Hellebuck's
name.
right there.
Yeah. But he digressed. He really did. He did. So I don't know.
Well, Luke
I don't know
and
what they can do there.
Luke and I liked. I mean, he did all right. After the Boston series, I thought he played better this series. I mean, especially coming in for relief for Lions, and definitely he looked like he was much more confident after he was benched after the Boston series.
Well, the thing about UPL, and it drives fans mad, it drives fans up the wall, is that he'll go through a stretch when he has like a couple of good games, and all of a sudden he'll just crack out. He can't stop a beach ball, or he has bad luck. I mean, he has had some bad luck too, where the defense doesn't play very well in front of him, or however you want to put it. And then you bring in Alex Lyon. Alex Lyon has a couple of good games, then he falls off, and then you put UPL back in. It's there's a reason why Lindy has less hair now than when the season first started.
He had more hair. Well, he had more hair back then because he had Dominic Cashin and Ryan Miller. I mean,
well, but the thing is, going into next season, what do you do? Do you trade UPL at this point? Because he's got a couple of years left on his contract. And it's affordable. It's in the $4.5 million range. Is he a tradable piece? And then do you invest in Colton Ellis? That's what do you do with him? Because they like having that. From what I was able to hear, is that they like the three-headed monster. They like having three goaltenders, and there was a couple of other teams that did that this season too. So I mean, they have to really decide like where they want to go with the goaltending. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the fifth and sixth defensive spots, the back end of that defense. Connor Timmins came up and played decent, when he was able to play. And so Lord knows what they're going to do with him. Kesselring is an RFA.
Yeah.
Not sure what they're going to do with him. But you know what? We got Josh Doan out of that trade, so.
That's because hearing what Kevin Adams, he was not going to trade Peterka unless he got Josh Doan. And
Josh Doan, again, you're talking about Zach Benson. Zach Benson, whatever. You could be looking at Josh Doan's contract being this. That could be the benchmark for Zach Benson, because Josh Doan is like 22 and whatnot. Had a really good regular season. Had a great playoff. So his contract may be, and I forget what it was, like 7 years, $50 million or something like that. I can't remember the exact numbers. But you're talking about maybe that being the benchmark for Zach Benson at this point, which would be fine. But then you got Bo Byram. What do you do with him?
I would like to have him stay because, again, he was amazing during the playoffs too. He was a big plus, big factor, and he's got like the experience of winning a cup. So does Timmins. So you want to keep them two around because they have the experience of winning a cup. And
so I mean, cup experience is definitely important. I just wish Shen had more left in him. I wish but unfortunately he's not going to be. He's going to be shown the door pretty much. He's a UFA. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens July 1st, though. Yeah. Will they close a deal to extend Byram? Will they be able to sign Zach Benson? Because if you get those two deals done, then Tuck is going to walk, or they're going to wait and see what he brings to what he gets in the market. And then they'll say, okay, do we match this? Because there's going to be some team out there I guarantee you there's going to be some team that's going to go crazy, that's going to offer him 11 million, 8 years, and they're going to regret that contract. Not that Tuck's not a good player, but as we all know, players fall off after this. Some players just fall off after the age of 30. Why? Some more than others. So signing Tuck to a long-term deal like that is a risk.
No, for sure. Right? It's hopefully we get some answers. Let's move on to the NBA playoffs. The Knicks getting past Cleveland, so they're in the NBA Finals, but they're waiting for an opponent, which I'm not going to be surprised it goes to a Game 7. I've seen San Antonio and OKC. They're evenly matched.
They are evenly matched, but I'll tell you what, man. Wembanyama has found his match, because he's getting he's finding it some rough sledding right now. But I'll tell you what, man. The Thunder look to me like the more complete team, I think.
Oh, absolutely. They already won the championship last year, and I would not be surprised if they repeat. I mean, that team's loaded. I mean, especially when you have Kevin Durant as one of your players, who absolutely probably one of the best players in the NBA, besides Steph Curry and that.
Well, you know what? I mean, you don't know. I mean, the Spurs could come up with something to get them to a Game 7, because they are at home tonight.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, there's something special about Oklahoma City. They only lost 18 games in the regular season, for God's sake. And I think no matter, I don't want to say that the Knicks will be overmatched.
See, these guys' record is still intact, by the way, the Bulls.
Oh, don't even start that. Oh, my God.
Okay, they had Michael Jordan.
Somebody's always got to bring up Michael Jordan. Somebody's always got to bring up Michael Jordan. Although, but Michael Jordan, he was stone cold in his playing time.
Greatest basketball player of all time. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, I mean, I would put him.
Kobe.
Well, I mean, him. Well, I'll say this. From the because my time while watching the NBA goes from 1980 to now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at, within that time frame, I've always been like a Dr. J fan. I'm a Sixer fan. Grew up watching Dr. J. But I caught him toward the end of last 5-6 years of his career, and he was still great back then. But you're talking about Larry Bird, Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
You can't forget about those two. And then maybe more modern day, you're talking about, just off the top of my head, Kevin Durant is up there. If you don't mention LeBron James, there's going to be a whole contingent. There's going to be a whole contingent of people that are going to be ready to jump on you. So
I'll try not to, but anyway.
Yeah, but you're talking about Michael Jordan, the greatest. Yeah, I mean, I think you can definitely put him up there.
Yeah, and I say Kobe because he did win a championship without Shaq. Mm-hmm. And in his final game, he had 80 points, which is amazing. And unfortunately, tragically, lost his life in a helicopter crash. But I mean, okay, LeBron. The only reason why I put him at third because LeBron winning championship with a superstar team, like with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and Miami. Now, he won one with Cleveland without the talent around him. The first time he came, the second time he went back there. And, and then you look at the Lakers, when he went with the Lakers, again, they were loaded.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, because you can be on loaded teams and not win. But yeah, I think that still irks people that he left Cleveland to go to Miami to win a couple of titles there. Then he won a title in Los Angeles, and then of course he won one in Cleveland. And Cleveland had a pretty good team that year, but they did. But I just as one of the, because I think he's the most elite scorer of all time. But don't forget, he's been playing since the 2003 season, I think. It's been he's played over 20 years, if you can believe that.
And he still puts up points. He still puts up numbers. And I mean, and his son's playing in the NBA, for crying out loud.
How old do you feel right now? He's like
there's gray hair here, so.
But
obviously.
It's crazy to think that LeBron's been in the league for over 20 years, but that is the case with him. I mean, I want to say he's like 42 now. He's 41, going to be 42 this year. He's on December 30th. And this past season, he still played 60 games at 41 years old. Okay?
Amazing.
And he averaged 21 points. So he's not a liability as far as offense goes. I don't know what his defense. I mean, I can't really speak to him about defense. But, if you're 41 years old, you're putting up 21 points a game. You're an asset somewhere. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing because he's literally had a career of 20 plus years in the NBA. Well, I thought he would have been gone by now, to be honest with you, and maybe buy a team because he's a billionaire.
Yeah, the question I have is it his last year this year, or does he have that one more in him?
He probably has one more left in him. I think he has one more year left in him.
I think if the Lakers didn't make the playoffs, I think he would have retired. But I think he feels like it's unfinished business. Wants to go out on top, basically like John Elway did, and you want to go out on top, especially with great.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I can see that, but will that be what's best for the team, though? I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I don't think. I think LeBron will. I think he would be back, and I think, probably put up some decent numbers again. So, I don't think it's. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Really.
Yeah. So we'll move along with what I did. I wrote down the top two teams in each because it's early in the season. First place teams may not be there at the end, and. Well, let's get the lackluster AL West out of the way first, because Seattle is only up by a half a game against the A's, and they're all under 500. So do you see Seattle staying in first place?
Oh man, that's just a division that it might come down to the trade deadline. To be honest with you, because right now. It is what it is. I mean, there always seems to be a division where it's like, 500 team or something, or just above 500. This year, it's
just like the south of the NFL.
I would like to see the A's win the division, but and then have the people in Oakland punch air because that's their franchise.
Yep, the Raiders. Yep, and also the Raiders. But I think they're like, hey, get the Raiders out of here anyway.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? But yeah, I mean, do I see them staying in first place? No. But I could easily see like Houston coming up. And
and don't forget about the Rangers. I think the Rangers are a pretty decent team. They came off of having getting in the World Series not too long ago, along with Houston. But Seattle did pretty good last year, unexpectedly getting to the ALCS. So,
well, you know what? I mean, were they able to build on last year? Because they had the pieces last year, and Cal Raleigh was just this monster that hit 60. It's like, oh, okay. I only hit 60 homers last year. But yeah, I mean, in this year, it's tough to repeat and all that because this year, Cal Raleigh, he's batting 161. That's
the good news is it's only the second full month, so it's basically they got time to adjust.
Oh yeah. They definitely do. And players can get cold. Players start out cold and then get hot. He only has 7 home runs right now. That's definitely far behind last year's pace. But yeah, I mean he can definitely pick it up. But I think he's the key because if he can get going, then the rest of the team could follow. But it's right now, to say that they're who's going to finish first in that division, it's anybody's. It's anybody's fight.
All right, I'm going to the AL East. Tampa Bay leads the division over the Yankees by a game and a half, and the Yankees fan, the only way I could see them getting into first place is they still need to work, like go in the trade deadline and get a relief pitching staff, because that's always what costs them the season, especially in the playoffs. Like they always struggle. Otherwise the hitting is not a problem. Seem to be.
The offense has never been a problem unless it's a big game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's Aaron Judge. I mean, he'll have his games, whatnot, but he's the straw that stirs the drink in the Yankees lineup. I mean, that's just how that is. Ben Rice is a nice addition. Came up last year, continued his success this year. And Garrett Cole had a nice start a night or two ago. And
then you got to worry about Toronto. I think Toronto having a lot of injuries to start the season. Because they got Max Scherzer. He's doing a rehab with the Bisons this Sunday, so he's going to be pitching it if you want to see him at Salem Field.
The thing about he's in his 40s right now, so if you're counting on him to light a fire with the Blue Jays, I don't know, man. I mean, Yasevich you had a couple of young pitchers last year, one in Yasevich, who's doing okay this year, but losing Bo Bichette, that's hurting them. So I mean, at this point in the season, you really don't know. And the one outfielder, Davis Schneider, he's having a rough year so far. but he was one of those blood and guts guys, but it's, he's only batting like 127 right now. So obviously there's a lot of players that are off to like a very, very slow start. So, I mean, you're only 56 games in, still 106 games left. Anything can happen. Because, it seems like every year there's a team that just takes off, whether it be like right after the trade deadline or thereabout. And then they just go on a tear. But I think Tampa, do they have the horses to stay in first? I mean, to tell you the truth, it's really too early to tell in the season.
They've been a very good team. I think they've been a very good team since, they are always well managed. They are, I mean, they're always, they have decent players that could, they always had great pitching and that. So the only problem is their attendance. So most of them are other teams' fans, because a lot of it because of the spring training.
As long as they're in the playoffs, they'll have fans. That's just how that is. But yeah, I mean, right now a 1.5 lead, that's nothing at this point. Toronto's 8.5 is 8.5 games back. So it, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Then we got the AL Central, Cleveland leading by 3 games over the White Sox. And Cleveland, they're a very, very good team. They have very good offense, very good base. Like, this team could be in the World Series, in my opinion.
I mean, they could. They could be in the World Series, but it's Cleveland.
Yeah, well,
it's not like the movie Major League.
All they get Charlie Dean, Wild Thing.
Wild Thing Bond, is he available? I don't know. I don't know, but I mean the AL. I mean the American League right now is. Right now, the Tampa Bay is the class of the league right now in the AL. So whether they can hold on to that, who knows? Because you get a couple injuries, a couple guys hit a slump, you don't know, and that and that can happen. Do they have enough depth behind them to overcome that? I guess we're going to find out. So, yeah.
All right, we're going to talk now. We'll head to Howard Simon's favorite division, the NL East, because the Mets, man, they are amazing.
I don't know where people thought that the Mets were going to be good. I mean, I see Mets fans upset all the time. This team has no heart. This team has that. They weren't going to be good. They have one of the highest payrolls in baseball.
They tried the Yankees, and it doesn't work.
And it's like, I mean, they have Juan Soto. He's a superstar. He's a superstar player. But Bo Bichette hasn't produced like they thought. And then they have Juan Soto, he's doing what he can. I mean, he's batting .301, has 12 homers and 24 RBIs. So there's nothing wrong with him. Mm-mm. If Bo Bichette was in the same area as Juan Soto, they might have a couple more wins, but they're not very good.
Yeah, I look at it as the teams in front of the Mets, basically. The Atlanta Braves have been a class act of the NL East. The Phillies, very talented, with especially having a guy like Bryce Harper. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the Washington Nationals, they won the World Series, 7 years ago. They still got a pretty good roster, too.
The NL East is Atlanta's to lose. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't see the Phillies I don't see the Phillies contending for the division title. Now, for the wild card, for one of the three wild card spots, I mean, they have a chance there. They're, I mean, it's the last wild card spot is like, you have, well, actually, all of the wild card spots are within range because you got Arizona, San Diego, St. Louis, the Cubs, Cincinnati, and Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh, and Washington, all within like a couple wins of each other. So they are all in there. I mean, Washington is a game and a half out of the final wild card spot. So they're there. They're definitely there. And this is where the trade deadline comes into play.
And then you got like the NL Central with the Brewers and the Cardinals, who were two very good teams last year. They showed it again in the playoffs. I mean, St. Louis, very experienced. They've been in the World Series a few times. And Milwaukee, they had a nice run last year.
Milwaukee, I think that's everybody's favorite team nowadays. Everybody's a Brewer fan when it comes to the playoffs, because they're the little engine that could smite the big guys,
They're having help with the ghost of Bob Uecker, probably,
That would be a nice story. It would be a nice story if they were to win one. I just, but they're a solid team. They really are. And then and what happened to the Cubs? What happened to the Cubs?
Well, they're back to their lovable loser self. I mean, that's one thing that. One thing I gotta say. I mean, they got their World Series. I mean, they can celebrate. I mean, even though the Pope was probably praying for the White Sox to win the World Series, him being a White Sox.
Don't bring the Pope into this. But but the Cubs, they're 1-9 in their last 10. You're not gonna make any kind of playoff with that, but they're still in that wild card pack. They're still in. Yeah. They're still in the wild card race for sure. And to be honest with you, they're only 4.5 out, and St. Louis is only 4 out of the league. In back of Milwaukee. So that's not. That's nothing right now. But you go like another month, another 2 months. Now you're talking about August. Now you're heading into August. What kind of shape are you in?
Yeah.
So to me, the trade deadline for some of these teams is everything.
Yeah, I mean, most of the teams, especially in the first and second place, they're definitely going to have to. They're definitely going to make moves. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then the teams that are like on the fringe of being in the wild card are going to make moves. There's going to be a lot of moving and shaking.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. If you have right now, if the National League stays like it is, because they have like 8 teams that are vying for those wild card spots, the teams that are contending may not be so willing to trade with teams that are contending. So now you're going to talk about, okay, what bottom teams are willing to trade. Yeah. And there's not going to be that many. There's not going to be that many teams that are not competing, because majority of the league is going to be competing for those wild card spots. So how much trade activity is really going to be happening? Yeah. I don't know. So I mean, this is where the farm systems may come into play.
Yeah, exactly. And then I guess we save the best for last. Obviously, the NL West. The Dodgers are in first place, leading by 4 over the Diamondbacks.
The Diamondbacks and the Padres.
and the Giants, which the mini Giants, right? The mini Giants they call them.
I call them the Hobbits at this point. They're not. They're but no. I mean, LA is deep, but they have some injuries. Teoscar Hernandez just went on the DL. PK Hernandez, they get him back in the lineup, and he's on the DL. So they had to make a couple of call-ups. One guy that I'm looking forward to seeing is James Tibbs. So we'll see what he can do. But for the most part, I mean, they're cruising right along now. They're 8-2 in their last 10. So they're and the Diamondbacks could be trouble though. Could be some trouble.
The last game I watched, I mean, they were just timely hitting, and they just have that. I mean, Arizona's a type of team that you shot, like shocked when they're not doing that good, but when they're doing good, you know that they're deep in that roster also. I mean,
well, you know what? I mean, it's, with Arizona is one of those teams that every couple of years that they will contend. But, do they have enough to get over the hump to get into the playoffs? Yeah, they do. Will they? Because they're in the wild card spot right now. Can they hang on to it? Can they stay healthy? And if they're not, and if they do incur a couple injuries, can they withstand it? LA last year when they were going through the run had injuries. Their bullpen wasn't great, but they found a way to get it done. So when you encounter obstacles, is your team good enough?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want. You want a good farm system. Like I would say, like Atlanta, if they have injuries, they have a great farm system. And then you have like obviously the Yankees have a pretty decent farm system. But like I said, the only thing I'm worried about the Yankees though is that relief pitching, because if their starting pitching can't take them deep, and teams but most of the teams, like I would say, that have good farm systems, like Toronto, I think they'll be in that mix of having a chance for first place.
Well, now, again, I mean, the trade, it could very well come down to the trade deadline, but the American League has the same kind of problem that the National League does, in that you have a lot of teams right now that are within, Houston's within 2.5 games of the wild card. If you have a chance, if you're within 2 games of the wild card, come the trade deadline, are you gonna trade away good players for prospects, or are you going to try to get into the playoffs?
Yeah,
so that's a huge factor, because you see the Boston Red Sox making a trade with the Yankees. No.
Well, that's time. Well, the one time it happened, I mean, there was a curse. The curse of the Bambino.
The curse of the Bambino. They don't want anything to do with helping the Yankees. So now you're looking at like maybe Kansas City, the Angels, and Detroit. Detroit fell off hard this year so far. But I mean, the Tariq Skubal, we'll see what happens with him. Now here's the kicker. Tariq Skubal could be the deciding factor. Could be the deciding factor in baseball this year. Because to me, Detroit should have traded him in the offseason. But now it's like, and I think he's still on the DL, as far as I know. But because if you trade Tariq Skubal, you're going to have to give up a ransoms, it's going to be a huge package of prospects. There's very few organizations that can do that. LA is one. The Yankees might. Maybe Atlanta, maybe, I don't know. Maybe Texas Rangers, they're crazy enough, but it's, yeah. So it's. I mean, you're talking about teams like that, Detroit, that have like a fantastic player in Skubal. They're in last place right now. Are they going to be in last place come the trade deadline? Who knows? Anything can happen. So I honestly think like a team like Detroit could go to the Yankees and say, okay, you give us Ben Rice and a couple of and like 3 or 4 young prospects down on your farm. Some of your top prospects down on the farm. Are the Yankees going to say no?
Absolutely not.
And you don't think they would, but you know what? It's not George Steinbrenner's Yankees anymore.
Well, they don't. Well, they bought their team basically when George Steinbrenner was here. I mean, obviously when they had Mark Teixeira and your Tino Martinez's and
Jason Giambi and
Darryl Strawberry and Doc Gooden.
But you know what though? At the end of the day, and speaking as a Dodger fan, because everybody thinks that the Dodgers are ruining baseball.
No,
when
they're
it's,
not.
When it's like I'll blame teams like Pittsburgh just as much. You got to spend money to actually do something. But anyway, I digress. At the end of the day, what is the main goal?
World Series.
And the Yankees didn't care. And I had to listen to Yankee fans when I was a kid. I had to listen to Yankee fans when I worked at Empire Sports. We had a building full of them, and they, I had to listen. I had to hear it. And the fact that LA beat the Yankees a couple of years ago, you have no idea the glee I had. You had no idea how much I remember. It's one of the most pleasant things that's ever happened.
See, I wasn't upset. I wasn't upset because, number one, I'm a realist. The Dodgers had better, like I said, they had a better pitching. They had better hitting. And I think Freeman would have had a great series that series.
Well, game one is an iconic moment.
He definitely was the MVP of that World Series.
Yeah,
now adding O'Shante, good luck beating him.
But they do have some injuries. But it's so to me, the baseball season, you really find out where teams are toward the end of July, going into August. That way, the trade deadline's over, and then you really see.
Unless your name is Howard Simon and you really have hope for the Mets because they
don't get a. Hey, listen, I worked with Howard. Oh my goodness! We need to pull
some strings and have him pick the Bills. By the way, we need to pull some strings.
I worked with Howard for a good 6 years.
Yeah, he loves it.
7 years. Miss working with the guy. I remember him. I remember when we both had hair. And love you, Howard. But I used to joke. I tell you what, when we took in satellite feeds, when they would feed us back footage or whatever, I'd always make a joke about the Mets. I go, "Hey, Howard, the Mets lost again." Then he'd come back at me with the Dodgers jokes. I miss those times. But to all the Mets fans, the Mets were never going to be good this year. Chill. It's okay. You wasted. You're pretty much wasted money on Bo Bichette at this point. Now he could catch fire. He really could. He's a very good player, but I just don't think it's in the cards for them.
No,
I just don't.
But I mean, yes, we should get Howard Simon, pull some strings, and have him pick the Bills twice a week. One on our show, and obviously on WGR. He loves to pick the Bills. Don't let him fool you. Like Love it.
I will say this. I will say, we ought to do pick the Bills when it comes to
I
maybe
think we
when
should.
training camp comes.
Yeah, an idea is like the power rankings too, and that because I definitely want to go do in August, like go through like who will be in first place. Obviously, I don't do standings, but like who will be like winning the division and everything in August, though, because we don't know much right now. It's OTAs, mini camp, so it's not. We don't know until pretty much July of what the depth chart is.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to kind of get a gauge where things are because, because after July 1st, which is a couple days away, you could see some player movement.
AJ Brown of the Patriots is looking more and more clearer on Monday.
You know what, though? That doesn't cement anything for New England. It really doesn't. But it would be a huge acquisition if they were to get that. But I would say it's the end all be all.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll definitely see it. I mean, we have like 40 seconds left. And so, do you think Richard would outduel Michael Jordan one-on-one in basketball?
You see, I think with Richard, he's got the length. He's got the length. I think if he can box him out, force him out to the outside, like I know he can. His rebounding, I think he can do it.
Oh, me too. I definitely think so.
Thank you for referencing me.
Yeah, you got a great hook shot, Richard.
Okay, I will.
Good night.
I'll talk to you in the future.
All right, talk to you Saturday.
Okay.
All right.